Hey, good morning everybody, it's Brian. Getting started a little bit early today. It's about 6:45 my time, 7:45 Eastern. Just gonna run through the numbers really quickly. Sorry yesterday, didn't do a video, had some technical difficulties, and by the time I got it sorted out, it was far past the time that we normally do these videos, and I'm like, well, we'll just hold off and do it tomorrow. The message is the same, right? The message is always the same. It's all about consistency. It's all about having some methods, some ways to look at the market that either get us into the best trading opportunities or keep us out. Yesterday was one of those days that our trading methods kept us away from the market, and we'll see what that does today. It may, well, we'll talk about that in a second. What are we looking at for the day? What are the key levels we're looking at? What's the market bias? Is it giving us a certain direction, or is it mixed? So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to start with forex, and then we're going to get into the futures market. Before we do any of that, though, we need to know what is coming up for news, because as I always mention, news is a big piece that can drive the market. So we've got planned news and we've got unplanned announcements, and obviously we can't plan around unplanned announcements, right? We can plan for it by always trading with a stop and having some things in place that protect us in the event that something comes out of left field. But then there's the planned announcements that we can base our day around and decide whether we want to trade or don't want to trade. So let's go ahead and start there. I'm going to kick it off over here on Financial Juice. The Forex Factory site that I typically use is down right now, so it's always good to have a backup anyway. And again, your calendar can be from anywhere. Forex Factory has a great calendar. Bloomberg's got a great calendar. FX got a great calendar. Just need something to, Financial Juice has a great calendar. Just need something here to give us an idea of what news is coming up, and then the rating on that news. Is it high impact? Is it low impact? Is it medium impact? And then we can base what we're going to do around that. So as we can see here, running through the day, we do have some high impact news at 7:30 this morning. It's the housing starts number. How impactful is that overall to the greater market? I guess it remains to be seen. Obviously, it's seen as one of those kind of leading indicators. If we start seeing housing falling off, that might be an indication that people are a little wary of the overall economy and aren't building new homes and whatnot. There's also another number when it comes down to existing home sales, but it can be an indication that things are starting to slow down. So it is a number to watch. It's more important for us, I think, in the Forex land because as we know, 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern is when the new Forex session begins. So this high impact announcement is going to come out 30 minutes into the new session. So what does that mean for us trading Forex? It means that we probably need to sit on our hands for the first 30 minutes. Let's not jump into a new trade immediately as the new market session begins, knowing that we've got news coming up. Why not? Why take the risk? We don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, we have a pretty good idea of where it's going to be. It's usually pretty consistent, right? But why take the risk? And again, for those that haven't watched before, one of the reasons I stay away on high impact news is because what we have is typically that bid-ask spread. Let's say it's typically here, right on news or in the minute, 30 seconds really leading up to news, we can see that bid-ask spread start to widen. Doop, 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 doop. It can go crazy, and that's simply a facet of market makers taking off where they're willing to buy or sell. Orders are coming out of the book, right? So where they're willing to do business gets wider and wider and wider. That's your bid-ask spread, right? The place where people are willing to do business changes, and our spreads widen. That can take us in trades and take us out of trades that we don't necessarily want to be in with that high volatility coming up. So why take the chance of getting slipped or getting stopped out on something when we can just simply wait 30 minutes and then take action, right? When we do need to take action, what are we taking? Well, real quickly, we're looking at our currency strength index, and we're trying to see which currencies are actually moving. So we're first looking over here to see, do we have strong currencies, do we have weak currencies? So after the news, what we'll be looking at is this. We're going to be looking at this currency strength meter and getting an idea of which currencies are actually active. So we're gonna look for our active currencies. In this case, leading up to the new session, we've got some. The euro is certainly very active, as is the Swissy. Weaker currencies, we've got the Aussie and the New Zealand. Those aren't that interesting to me, the Aussie and the New Zealand, simply because they're not really trading during their live sessions. I mean, obviously they're being traded, but it's not their live market. Those guys are asleep right now. So I'm more interested in the active currencies that are currently being traded, that actually have some volume, some volatility around them. So we'll be watching the euro, the pound, the USD, and the CAD. And right now, if we kind of narrow that down a bit, we've got the euro versus the pound. That's certainly seen some divergence there. But then even over here on a smaller level, we've got the CAD, which has been fairly flat for the day so far. And we've got the pound weakening against it. So that's an interesting one for me. Maybe post news to see if we get this continuation of the CAD, either remaining flat or being, a stronger currency being bought a bit against this pound down here. So if we continue to see this divergence post news, this would be a nice trade for us. The other reason I like it is over here. If we look at the pound versus the CAD, we can see that it's only moved 67 pips on the day so far. Its average is typically into the mid hundreds, 130 to 140 range. So there's certainly opportunity here if we continue to see some divergence with one being purchased and one being sold. That gives us that opportunity to go. So I certainly like that, just where we are leading up to the U.S. session. I like that because there's some range left in it, some gas left in the tank, right? So we'll watch that post news and see if we get a little blip on this where the CAD continues to strengthen against the pound, and that would allow us to buy in the direction of that current trend. The other thing we want to watch for as that occurs is we want to see that our volume detail is showing us that we've got volume that's coming in a way that favors the selling as well. So obviously we're going to look at two things. We're going to look for continued post news. We're going to look for continued divergence between the CAD and the pound, or the pound CAD pair, right? So we're going to look for continued divergence here, and we're going to watch. We've got things moving in the same direction as the current intraday trend, as well as the volume detail supporting that continued selling on that currency pairing. All right, so that's forex. That's what we're watching for in forex. And obviously, there's a couple of other currencies that are showing us similar things. If we look at the divergence and look at the opportunity there on your charts, there's some though that really don't have the opportunity. What would I mean by that? Let's just have a quick look before I move on to futures. Pound Aussie, for example, and this is not a great example because it's the end of their day, but it's moved 140 pips on an average of 150 to 160. If we saw that, sometimes we see that, let's say on the pound CAD coming into the new session, we might see the pound CAD has already moved 120 pips and its average is 140. Is that something we'd really want to trade? Probably not. Okay, so anyway, that's why we're liking this, because the current day range coming into the U.S. session is a fraction of what the typical range actually is. All right, moving on. What's happening over in futures land? So just having a quick look over here at the S&P, crude, and gold, and then we'll let you guys get on with your way, get on with your day. What we're looking at over here, S&P, 4-hour bias is long, 30-minute bias is short. So we've got mixed bias on the S&P. We've got, well, we actually don't. I thought we had mixed bias on crude as well. We don't. Crude is now back into a long bias. 4-hour bias is long. 30-minute bias has flipped over to be long as well. And on gold, we have a short bias where the 4-hour is short and the 30-minute is short. So what are we going to do with all of this? Well, a couple of things. When we have a mixed bias like we do here in the S&P, that tells us to sit on our hands. Hey, bias is mixed. There's no confirmed direction. Let's just kind of hang back and see what the market's actually going to bring for us. A lot of this today hinges on that CARES Act, right? What are they going to do? Are we going to get some agreement on this and keep things moving? or are we going to, let it putter out until after the election? We shall see. No one knows. No one has a crystal ball. Right now, this is telling us, hey, the markets are mixed up. They don't really know what's going to happen. Let's just sit on the sidelines. Now, some folks have a really hard time with that. I have a hard time with that. I mean, we all want to be the hero and take that trade that's just, that big moonshot, right? But it's not in our best interest. Why keep doing that to ourselves? If you're not a consistent trader, it's probably because you get caught up in not knowing, when not to trade. That Kenny Rogers song, gotta know when to hold them, gotta know when to fold them, gotta know when to walk away, right? It's very true in trading, especially. We've got to know when to hold them, we got to know when to fold them. Markets aren't green, they're not doing things that we needed to do per our trading plan. We need to stay on the sidelines, right? That's part of it. It's part of the game. You can go fishing and cast and never get a nibble. Same thing, we can sit on our charts all day and never have that perfect trading process lined up. It's okay. That's part of it. It's okay. Anyway, let's pop back over here. So this is mixed. So our S&P is mixed. The things to watch here obviously will be, do we get some agreement on the CARES Act? If we do, that could certainly be a push back to the long side here. What would that mean to us? Well, 3472, 3470 area has certainly been a big level of support and resistance for us. Here previously, it was support. Back here, it broke, it became resistance for a minute, then support again, and now we're down below it. So 3472 could certainly be an interesting area. If we break up and we see that a long move and it breaks above 3470, that could certainly be a spot to look for potential buying opportunities. At that point, we'd probably see our moving averages cross anyway, giving us that confirmed bias where our 4-hour and our 30-minute are both in the same direction. But it would need to have some movement there. For now, just sit on your hands. You don't need to do anything until after we get some confirmation of movement. That's right. Crude, we have a long bias. We're the 4 hours long and 30 minutes long. We've been certainly testing and retesting this 41 area down here. Certainly positive news that on that CARES Act could probably rally gold a bit, or gold could probably rally crude a bit. So if the S&P starts moving up, it might pull crude and gold with it. We shall see. But for right now, 41 is a big area for us. I'd say if we're looking for, so there's a couple of ways to approach this. What is the BTX method, which is we're going to watch for the market to make the lower highs and lower lows, and then we'll play a breakout of the close of that lower high. So, if we, like for instance right now, lower high, lower low, right? So, if price starts moving and we break out above this lower high, then we're able to buy on a break of that. If it keeps moving back, then we just simply don't enter. And at some point, our moving averages are going to cross over, giving us a mixed bias, and that would just tell us to stay out of the market anyway. But the BTX method would be wait for the market to continue to pull back, making lower highs and lower lows, and then play the breakout of that lower high. All right. Gold is a short bias. The 4-hour is short, and the 30-minute is short. Again, little iffy on this. If we get some agreement on that CARES Act and the S&P rallies, the Dow rallies, that could pull gold up with it. We shall see. But for right now, we're continuing to look at potential short opportunities. What does that mean to us? Well, a short opportunity would mean that we would make a higher low and a higher high, and then we'd play a breakout short back in as price breaks through the bottom of that higher low. For right now, we're sitting on our hands until the regular trading hours begin. But once that happens, and if price continues, if our bias continues to be confirmed short, then that's what we'll be looking at there on that on gold as well. All right, so that is it for right now. I'd say key levels to watch in gold would be 1900. Certainly if you're looking for just a straight breakout trade, If we break below 1900, that would be your opportunity to look for shorts. Even if we still have a short bias, if we break back above, this 1912, 1914 area, even if we're continuing to look at a short bias, if we break back above here, I would probably stop looking at shorts and just keep things close to the vest again until we get a confirmed bias some other direction. All right, so that's it for right now. I think we've covered everything from a crypto standpoint. I'm not hitting crypto lately. I'm still working on a bot for crypto that's just it's a really fun side project. Learning a lot about that, learning a lot about myself as we try to code things, and having a lot of fun with it, but I don't have anything ready yet. Once I do have the crypto stuff ready, and I feel like it's consistent enough to share, I'll share that as well. All right, so that's everything. We've hit it all. We've hit Forex, we've hit futures, and we touched briefly here on the crypto. All right, so that's it. Have a great day. If we have some tradable opportunities, if a setup occurs on the BTX method and we have an entry opportunity on S&P or crude or gold later today, I'll record a review video for you for how that trade went. If we don't, then we'll just be back tomorrow and continue looking at our setup processes. All right, that's it. Have a great day. Bye.